iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
It's been the dream of a lifetime. I grew up obsessed with Stephen Sondheim, reading his biographies when I was in high school, watching Into the Woods and Sunday in the Park on VHS from the Suncoast store at the mall in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And so to be bringing Merrily We Roll Along back to Broadway after 42 years is such an honor, and it feels incredible.
I mean, it's been incredible. It's been so, rewarding, fulfilling. Like, we just all feel so lucky, I think, to be working on a show this special and to be working with each other on it. It's like Lindsay and Jonathan, I could not wish to be on stage with anyone else. Like, I just want to do every show for the rest of my life with them. And the whole company is like, it's just such a stupidly talented group of people who are also some of the kindest, most fun people to do a show with. So like, yeah, I feel so lucky to be along for the ride.
It's been extraordinary. Sondheim is, he's our highest god in musical theater. So to get to bring this show that, has had such a storied past to Broadway and share it with new audiences or audiences that saw it 42 years ago. And they're loving it and responding, and it just feels like the time for the show, and it's so exciting.
It's been really amazing to be in this situation because people are loving it. People are enjoying it. And 42 years later, this show gets a life where people get to love on it and connect with it in a whole new way. And we're bringing such a diverse and unique cast to this piece that I'm just like, I'm so honored to have this position and have this opportunity to share this version with the world.
Yeah, I think that's actually the most unbelievable part, is how incredible every single person is on stage and off. I think we just absolutely gelled. We absolutely love each other. Whatever the audience senses from the cast is just truly there.
It has been such a fulfilling road. It's been a long road, but it's been so gratifying. We all feel like we're walking on cloud nine at this very moment, and since day one we've just been filled with gratitude, and we're so happy and lucky and jazzed to be here.
Well, our first day of tech, we were in the theater for the first time, and we were all up in the dress circle, and then they were like, oh, please go down to the stage so we can do the big meet and greet. And I remember running down the stairs because I just wanted to see the theater for the first time, and I stood there and I looked out and I just started crying, and because I was able to see our Broadway theater for the first time, and I feel so lucky that it's happening in this space, in this show with all of these people, and it's just amazing. So
in high school, in my freshman year drama department, I was like the young freshman, and these two juniors came up to me and they're like, we're going to be presenting a song from Merrily We Roll Along, and I'm Frank, he's Charlie, we've decided you get to be Mary. And I was new and I didn't know what that was, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And so they gave me the soundtrack, and I went home and I was so obsessed with it, and I had this like full circle moment of getting to work with Lonnie Price, and then he's here tonight, and I'm like, this is all just connecting in the most wild way. My brain can't comprehend it, and it's just so, it's kismet. It's amazing.
it's incredible. I never thought that I would be a part of this company. It's so crazy and incredible that like this piece of history I get to be a little tiny piece of. It is so much fun, and I've been saying all night that this group of people is just the best group of people I've ever worked with. They are, no offense to anyone else, they are just so like from the top down, from the performers to the offstage people, everyone is so great. And to be able to bring this special piece of theater with a special group of people is really incredible.
I am so excited for this to finally be happening. I started this journey 11 years ago with Maria back at the Menu Chocolate Factory, and we've done it 5 times since. So for us finally to be here on Broadway is a dream come true, and we're with a beautiful cast and a beautiful creative team, and we're having the best time. It's been wonderful.
Oh, it's thrilling. It feels like it's in such good hands with our director, and our company is so loving, and I think that love emanates into the audience, or at least we hope it does, so I feel great about it.
Yeah, extremely joyous. This is such a special musical, a special director and composer, and it's just something that I've always dreamt of doing. So Dan and John are they're incredible. They're such
beautiful artists, such strong actors, and beyond that, just like kind, amazing humans. So to get to kind of tell a love story of a friendship is so easy when I'm like fully in love with them off stage as well. It's been quite blissful.
I remember when we were like making videos with each other before we actually started rehearsals, and there was like definitely an immediate chemistry, and then we sat in the rehearsal room for the first time on the first day, and everything kind of came for free. There was like it just immediately clicked. And then we got to go through an entire experience of learning a show and rehearsing a show and getting to know their partners and now their kids. And we had this experience off Broadway that was very magical. And so now coming back to Broadway, we are like it's all gotten very meta with the friendship because we love each other so much.
I mean, it's just really been a case of just like getting to know them better and better, and that informing the show more and more, learning how to make them laugh or learning that sort of thing. But also like they're both two incredibly like professional actors who love like going deep on scenes and like talking about it. And the thing I love about working with them is that you never have to. Some actors are really like jaded and cynical, and here I never have to hide how much I love my job. Like we can just be like, we are so lucky. Like let's work as hard as possible to make this as good as we can. We're very like-minded in that.
I think it's really easy to become jaded. This is my 6th Broadway show, and I think it's so easy to just go, oh God, 8 shows a week, 6 days a week. Ugh. But I think what I've been trying to do is really be in this moment as best as I possibly can, is to really be really present with, like, okay, if I'm getting tired, I get to be with Jonathan Groff, I get to be with Dan, I get to be with Shares, and all these wonderful people that I've really fallen in love with. So in the moments that I'm feeling like, I just look around and I'm like, I adore all of these people so much that it just makes everything so much easier.
This is probably one of the most incredible moments in my life, but also I reflect on some of the most like hard times in my life, and I feel like I don't think I probably would be here today without those moments as well. I know Maria liked to cast people who like have lived some life and are real people. So I think it's one of those things of thanking all parts of my life, the good, the bad, the ugly, to be able to be where I am now.
Every time that first line gets sung, I look at the flies of the theater, and I think about, every time it's a different thing. I think about something I've done and how my 12-year-old self is just has his mind blown.
Oh no. Hold on, now I'm going to pick an answer that's not going to make me cry. If I could go back to any moment in my life, you know what? Right now, tonight, I'm going to go back to my audition for Merrily when I was on Zoom with my sister, and she was encouraging me and telling me that I could do it, and she was my reader, and I would go back to that moment, and then maybe also when I flew to New York and stayed with her and did the callback.
There was this one day about 6 years ago where I booked 2 shows in one day. And, I've been an actor for 20 years, and there are times when I go 6 months, a year and a half without working, without, getting any jobs on my resume. And I think that one day I booked the Waitress with Sarah Bareilles and another off-Broadway show literally on the same day. And to commemorate that day, I got a tattoo on my chest that says, "Keep going," just because, it gets rough until it isn't. And just to kind of barrel through.
I guess I would relive a time in my childhood, because I would love to remember again what a moment was like with my parents as a little kid. I have a little girl now who's 2, and I think so much about my parents and how they played with me, spent time with me, and I would love to go back to that moment again with my parents and feel that.
I think if it was a show, that was the question before, it would be that first night that I played Clara in Light in the Piazza. And then a moment, oh my gosh, without a doubt, when my husband asked me to marry him. It was one of the greatest moments of all time. I did not know he was going to propose, and I was so floored, and I think he always jokes because I didn't say yes right away. I just kept saying, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and then he had to ask, he's like, so is that a yes? I would relive that moment.
I mean, I think in a few years, I'm just going to be saying, like, all of my son's life. Like, I right now, like, because my first thought was like, well, the day he was born, and I was like, you know, that was a pretty crazy day, actually, and I wouldn't want to make my partner go through that again. So, like, but late, you know, any day, I have so many videos of him on my phone, and literally, when I'm an old man in an old folks' home, you can just play those videos on a loop, and I'll be happy.
If I could reverse time and go back to any moment, wow, it would probably be like, I think it would be my 10th birthday, March 26th, 1995, because it was actually the 25th of March. It was the night before my birthday. My grandfather died the next day on my 10th birthday, and my grandmother Evelyn and my grandmother Dolores were there, so I would love to go back to that night and talk to the three of them and hang out.
When I saw my first Broadway show, which was Wicked, I would go back and tell my 14-year-old self at the end of Act 1, because I had the thought immediately at the end of Act 1 of Wicked, I said, I want to do this, and I would go back to that 14-year-old girl and I'd say, you're gonna! So yeah.
There's a couple of auditions I can think of that I'd like to go back to. Maybe we can change some of those up for sure. And a couple X's as well, I see you.
Oh, how did I get to be here? God, that is such a hard question. It's, you know, everything is so intertwined, and so, you know, one little thing could change your whole destiny. I do believe it was fate that I'm here, and that I needed to meet these people and be in this place at this time. And there are so many teachers and friends that helped me be who I am today. And every time we sing that song, I think that I'm like, how did I get to be here? Because I had so many great people support me to be here. So I don't know, there's too many to pick just one.
All right, well, how I got to be invited here, I think is maybe from my life on social media. How I literally got to this show tonight is the N train, the subway. In this outfit. I took the subway in this outfit.
Well, tonight I was invited by my friend Doug, but the first thing I thought of was the first time I went to a Broadway opening, which I think was November. A David Mamet play starring Nathan Lane, and at the party Nathan Lane came up to me and said, hey, I love you on that show, and I melted. I literally melted. That was one of the first moments. Been to many Broadway shows before that, but that was my first time going to Broadway opening. Bruce Glickus, who took my picture tonight, took a picture of me and Nathan Lane together, and I was like, I guess something's working.
Well, in terms of how I got to be here, I mean, Merrily was a big part of my beginning, and probably if it wasn't for Merrily, I'm not sure I would be here. It started my career, it defined my career and still does to a large degree. So, I don't know, I feel so lucky to have been part of this show and so excited to see this new version of it.
I wish I could tell you how I got to be here. I was so lucky to be a part of that production in 1981. And I will say that I got here tonight by walking. I live on West 45th Street, so it was like a 15-minute walk. It's very convenient. So thank you, cast of
That's
Merrily.
why he showed up. Really.
Yeah, main reason.
Yeah.
How did I get to be here? When I was in 9th grade, I went to the science school and I transferred to the art school because I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and that's why I'm here.
I'm here because of my amazing parents. They are extremely supportive, and they've held my hand this entire way, and I'm so glad to have them with me tonight and also a couple of weeks later. Yeah.
How did I get to be here? I mean, tonight was a lot of that. Tonight was a lot of that, especially since in the past year or so we've been working on this piece, over a year, and we had crossed our fingers that it would get to this moment, and it's here and we're present, and the audience was amazing, and we did our best, and it was a crazy 1,000-seat crowd. And we're used to a 200-seat crowd off Broadway, so I think tonight was a huge moment for us. Yeah.
The journey that encapsulates how did I get to be here moment was when my mother asked me if I wanted to audition for a community theater production of Peter Pan, and I got it, and she said, "This is what you're gonna do." And I was just like, "I don't know if I want to do it." She goes, "No, this is what you're meant to do." That's the moment that changed.
Oh my gosh, how did I get to be here? I met a woman named Lainey Carlin when I was in high school, and she taught me about musical theater, and she would lend me her CDs, the soundtracks of shows, and let me use them and borrow them and learn the shows. She taught me how to sing. She taught me everything, and I would not be here without Lainey Carlin and Kim Grigsby.
A moment that encapsulates the how did you get to be here from the show? My first acting class, my very, very first acting class at a community center in La Mirada, California, where they tasked us with things like walking across the room like the color green, and we just tried. And that trying ridiculous things is how I got to be here.
I've got a really lovely introduction to this show from a dear friend Jeremy Sams. Introduced me to Maria Friedman and told her to come and see my work. And she came and saw my production of Allegro that I'd choreographed. And in the bar afterwards, she was like, "Will you do my show with me? Do something like that and I'll be really happy."
My how did you get to be here moment is probably when I moved here from California after not getting into any colleges. My parents still believed in me enough to let me come here and pursue my dream. And when I got my first Broadway show, I thought, wow, like what a gamble. And I believed that there was a place for me here, and there is. And I still relive that all the time, including tonight, So that's probably it.
I am still asking how did you get to be here every single day. I moved to New York almost 20 years ago in 2004 when I was 19, and I went to open calls and just wanted to have a life in the theater. And so on a night like tonight, where we're opening the first revival of Merrily on Broadway, I think in awe, how did I get to be here? I just feel like the luckiest person in the world.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.